Okay, it looks like we are live. Thank you so much for joining us on Straight to Sunday service with the Morrison Special Edition.
Tammy's on so much she forgot what show she was on. Hey, as you know, this is not Sunday, but we don't do service as usual as normal. We like to reach all the real people. We like to reach all the people of the world. Remember, the world is a small place. Someone just went on one of my posts just recently and said, "There's it's none of our concern what goes on in the world, but everything that goes on in the world, good or bad, we need to be in prayer about it. We need to be conscious because the world is not as big as we really think it is. We're one body, one unit. That said,
As you come on TikTok, tap the screen for us. Give us some of those likes. We appreciate that.
and that said, give us your location. We're not going to be able to answer your questions. I know you have some, but just send them in our private message, and we'll hit them up later. Subscribe to us so we can stay in touch with you. We'll subscribe back also. Um, I'd like to mention someone that's a fairly new friend, but someone I know a while that inspired me. And even if she can't be on tonight, um, we both uh, uh, from the East Coast side. We both have similar life, although she don't realize our paths are similar. Katie go by under the name HYIMKAY.
Thank
Hi,
you.
hi, IK. Just follow her if you can. She's very inspirational. If she can't be here, can't be on this live, just give her a shout out and follow her. Show her some love. Be patient with her. She's not of this world, and just like none of us are that the people of the heavenly. So we're different, and sometimes we treat it different because we're different.
Yeah.
That said,
Yep.
say amen to that, and just let us know where you're from, where you're listening to us from, what time is it, what the weather's like. We like to hear those type of things. That said, I'll let Tammy kick it off for us.
So so we're gonna talk about when you hang out with your grown kids because we had opportunity and thank y'all for the birthday wishes. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I had a birthday on
We
last
still
Wednesday.
we still celebrating. We're celebrating the 30 days. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay.
I want to ask you to guess her age unless she wants to tell you, and maybe she'll give you a reward or something, a signed book or some of her items that she prepared if you get it right. But that'll be all in the that'll be all later. That said, what we say?
I was saying that we were going to talk about how our trip where we visited the grown kids and it was amazing. I mean, it to be honest, it was really amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You
Um,
can see this so good.
but it was just amazing when we went to visit them. And so they actually moved to Portland about a month ago now, I think. About a
Yeah,
month or so
yeah.
ago, they moved to Portland, maybe 2 months. They
Fr-
moved to Portland from
from
Texas.
Texas.
From Texas. And so we were excited and happy that they did that because we are in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State. And so Oregon is, we're about 2 hours away from them, right? About 3 hours away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 3 hours away,
Take your time, yeah.
which is amazing. So anyway, we had to go down there
VA.
for VA. Yeah, we had to go down there for VA, but it was amazing because they were there, and so they invited us to come, and we actually stayed with them, which is way different than what we normally do. Yeah. So, but we stayed with them, which was beautiful. And they got two of our cute little grand dogs. So, but we had a nice time, and um, it was just such a vibe when we were there with them, right?
Yeah.
They were just beautiful. We went to the falls. They had two different falls that we went to,
Waterfalls. Yeah.
and we went and walked, hiked, did a little hike. Woo!
We
Did a
paid
little
for it,
hike.
but it was wonderful.
We did. We paid for it, y'all. As you get older, you pay for those hikes, especially if it's not something you do regularly, which we don't. But
But we will.
right. But it was such a nice time, and we just enjoyed them so much. And and they took us out, which was already amazing. Those of you mothers and fathers with grown kids, y'all know how that can be. Sometimes you still have to take care of them always, and a lot of people are having those type of issues. Now, me, I'm not gonna have those type of issues because that's not how I raise my kids, you know. And I got a lot of grief from a lot of people when I was raising them, but now people are like, "Oh my God, wow, your kids are, they can take care of themselves. They don't call me for money, none of that stuff." Because that's how I raised them, to be self sufficient and to be able to take care of themselves. And one of the reasons I did that was because I wasn't sure. I didn't know anything could happen to me. And I knew that if anything happened to me, my kids needed to know how to take care of themselves because I didn't know if there was anybody that would take care of them. I didn't have anybody that I could think of in my mind that I wanted to take my kids. So I wanted them to be able to be self-sufficient, and plus that's our job as parents, to raise them so that they can be self-sufficient. We ain't supposed to be taking care of them all their life.
Too many people think that.
People think that, but David wanted me to talk about he wanted to talk about the mom mode.
Yeah, and Tammy probably don't know. I'm gonna go a little bit deep on this part because it actually remind me of my mother. Bless her, she's not with us now, but I can see her smiling down now because when I was in my early 20s, and I don't know what I said. We didn't curse around my mother, so I knew I didn't do that. But I said something that kind of set her off, and before I knew it, she was stepping to me. I almost didn't catch it because it caught me on the blind. I was with the ex at the time, and I was just blocked it just in time. I said, "Ma," I said, "I'm a grown man." She said, "Then you should know better than." And whatever it was, it made me know sometimes you're never grown to your mom, and my ex got a good laugh out of that. She never stopped laughing. As a matter of fact, she kept telling that story. But when I watched Tammy, I had some PTSD moment because uh, uh, our young man was challenging her, and she was telling him how to be a gentleman to his beautiful woman, and he's a nice person, but sometimes we as men we lack in areas. He was lacking in this area big time. And she was explaining to me he was making excuses and making it out of a joke, like, nah, she ain't gonna get that, sort of like that personality. And kind of to get under his mother's skin and her skin at the same time. And he could not see her creeping up on. And I'm calling her name and was like, you ever see one of those pointing tail, not to put her in a category, a pointing tail hunting dog. She was like zoomed in. She didn't even hear me. She was like inching toward him, like the only thing was missing was the tail. The nose was like pointing out, and she was inching. Said, "You said what?" And he was just smiling along, chuckling like it was still a joke. And I'm like, Tammy. Tammy, he's okay, and he just smiling. He didn't see it coming, and I'm glad it didn't come. He kind of moved out the way quick enough, while he was joking. It might have been his instinct to say, I'm about to get my ass handed to me here,
Because he done seen that before.
Yeah, and then Tammy told me something that made a lot of sense to the big picture. He's always been the one that challenges intentionally until he pushed the car till it can't be pushed no more, and then he suffers the consequences.
Yeah.
And he's a fine child for a while, and then he does it all over again. But that was some picture. I was having PTSD for him, and he just grinning away. And I'm like, I'm having almost a Medea moment. Like, Lord, this child, he just don't know. He's just as silly as he can be.
See, because I raised him better than that. Like, I
Yeah.
raised my boys to be gentlemen. And they typically are, pretty much, right?
Yeah, they are.
But this particular moment, I was like, no, I raised them to be respectful of women, to open the door for women, to be kind, not to fight women, all of this kind of stuff. That's how I raised my boys.
Though, I personally think that's a kink between the two. If some of you know the word kink, I think that's a thing they play with each other, and I could see the big picture, but like you couldn't. All you could see is, I didn't raise that boy like that. What's wrong with this boy? Because she wasn't saying nothing. She didn't even flinch. Like, this knucklehead.
She knew not to get in the middle.
Yeah.
She already knew that.
Yeah.
And it was okay. And I really wasn't all that serious, but I just felt like I needed to tell him that. But I wasn't real serious about it.
That's because he was out of reach, so it wasn't that serious. Because he was out of reach, so you're right. It wasn't that serious. He moved just in time, so you're right. It wasn't that serious, and I'm happy it wasn't that serious. Because the poor young man, I love him. He's about the most intelligent young man I ran into in my life, and I'm not just saying that because he's our boy. But at the same time, the fact that you're able to move all the way from Texas and set up not in months or years, but in days, to set up, you both have a job, and then in weeks, it's weeks, right? We went down there, or they down there?
About a month, I think.
Yeah, weeks.
They had a job in like 2 days.
They not only had a job, but they had enough to treat us, and they didn't just treat us. We were going to some of the best seafoods, and my belly was stretched to prove it. I had to order appetizers most places because I'm not used to going out like that. And me and Tammy aren't big eaters. We could nibble off a little bit for pretty much the whole week. And we do normally one meal a day. So that said, it was a blessing to have that. One of my sons, he did that one time in Arizona for my birthday, and I was so intrigued. I actually think he got offended because he seen a look on my face. I was a little bit shocked and intrigued at the same time.
But and happy.
He didn't take it like that though.
But happy.
Yeah, happy. And he even went overboard when I said, okay, I'm gonna take care of the tip to myself, and I took care of the tip because if you tip 20% on a few $100 plate, you're gonna kick out a little bit. So I kicked out a little bit, and then to match me, my ex kind of taught him that way, and he gave the same tip I did. So the waiter,
they cleaned
needless to say, yeah. And that's not to speak negative about the ex. I'm not here to talk about that because she's not here to defend herself. And that said, it was just a wonderful trip all the way around. Some of my very conservative friends, when they heard Oregon, they thought about Seattle, And as you know, we have some struggles in Seattle. Seattle have some beautiful areas too. Uh, um, but we found so much beauty in Oregon. We found the with the perfect waterfalls. I mean, I posted some of the pictures. If you go in the stories, even on the Facebook stories now, it's there. The name is the same in case you want to look for me there. Um, it was just heavy the scene.
It was.
I had to and the water's cold here out west. Those of you who listen from back east, it's even cold in the summer. But I had to get grounded. I had to sit down in the water, on the rocks and the waterfalls and get my feet. And my feet started changing colors. And my wife said, "Honey, your feet is kind of purple. Is it okay?" I mean, I said, "That's how what's that thing that you get in
Frostbite?
not frostbite, but yeah, that's how frostbite began." But I didn't stay in there that long. But the water just felt so good. It felt so good to ground. That's something we don't do enough as human beings. We don't take off our shoes. We don't ground with the dirt, the grass, the sand. We feel
The
like
water.
the water. We feel like we have to have slippers or shoes or something on. And that's why I'm glad we bought this land that we bought. We'll be building on because that'll provide the opportunity. Even though we have beaches here within 10-minute driving distance or less, or lakes.
But they're not pretty as the Oregon beaches.
Well, we
Oregon
have to go a
coast
little. We have to go a little further, but
Oregon coast is beautiful. If you haven't
yeah,
been, if you live anywhere that you can get there, it is beautiful. I mean, the all it needs to do is just be warmer, but it is clear. It's beautiful. Their coast is so beautiful. I mean, we have. I think we probably have some here. We just haven't found them yet because most of the beaches here are full of rocks and stuff.
yeah, that beach is here,
But
and I
I
have the
think the
neighbor.
one in Edmonds is nice. It's not as rocky. That
Right.
marine beach, but typically, yeah. But Oregon, oh God, it's just pristine and it's beautiful and love it, love it, love it. As far as beaches go, especially if you're a water person, but yeah, I mean, when your kids grow up and stuff like that, because everybody, I talk to young people all the time, young mothers, and everybody wants their kids to grow up. Oh, I just want to let them get big, want to get big, and then they start getting big and they start getting,
Cold feet.
yeah, and then you have the mothers that I've talked to a few. They're like, oh, did you get empty nest syndrome or whatever? I said no.
No.
I didn't get none of that. I didn't get any of that. I feel like I did my part as far as what I was called to do to raise the kids, the children. And I feel like now it's time for them to have the next chapter. And I think that is what people need to expect out of their kids, their grown kids. Because there's so many of them now that they so dependent on their parents and stuff like that. I don't be understanding it. And they, women talk to me and they're like, "Oh, my son is 25 and he's still living in my house." I say, "Why?" That's what I say. I say, "Why?" And they say, I said, "Well, my kids," I said, "my children were gone at 17 and 19. They were gone.
Thanks for tapping the screen.
Left the
Thanks
house.
for the gifts.
Left the house. And it was okay. They was good." So I don't know. I don't understand any of that. I don't get it at all. I'm like, no, because our job as parents is to raise those kids so that they can take care of themselves. It's not our job to take care of them all their life. Because you know what? Our generation, we didn't get that. My husband went in the military at 17. I went to college at 17. Left home at 18. Didn't look back. So I don't I don't get it. And I don't even understand, why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to have your own space and your own
Yeah.
stuff and your own life? Why would you want to? But I don't know. Like I said, It's not mine to figure out because I don't have that problem. But I know that as they grow and as they get older and stuff like that, and as we get older, you know what I mean? Because that's the thing. You think about that, it's like, okay, they're older, you're older. Why wouldn't you want them to be in their own house? Why you want them to be in your house always? We actually met a couple. You remember that couple? They were talking about they were trying to get the youngest to come back home. She was
Oh,
20, you remember?
I heard that from 2 or 3 people recently, but
They said
that
they
one
were
do
gonna
stand.
get the they want to even bring the boyfriend back. They said they like him too. Remember?
Yeah, I kind of remember.
Yeah, they were like, all our kids are
They
gone
don't listen to
grown,
your live, do they?
and they're like, I don't care.
Okay.
I said, probably not. But
Okay.
I said, if they do, I mean, it's okay. I'm not saying anything bad.
Right, right.
But they were saying, oh, the boyfriend, we told her the boyfriend can come too, because we miss him and this and that. I'm like, wow, yeah, no, I miss
Yeah.
him too, but not to live. I mean, we want to plan something so they could come up for Christmas, and then we want to do a cruise next year with them. We're trying to plan that out. So that's something, and what I notice is the relationship that you have when they're younger changes when they get older. Hopefully for the better. I can say that because I truly I think that probably because I was so young when I started having my kids that I kind of grew up with them in a lot of ways, even though I think I was grown since I was about 10. But in a lot of ways, so I was able to understand them even a little bit more, probably because I was younger, and had gone through some of that stuff that they went through not too many years before they did, But what do you want to talk about, man?
The fact that we decided not to get hotel rooms instead we got one of them nice Costco's blow up mattress because they just moved in, so they're not settled in, and we bought extra bedding just in case, and that mattress was the most comfortable thing, and because we like our space, we like our space so well. We both used to big homes, and we moved here right outside of Seattle, and we got a good deal on a place. Some people in this area would call, oh wow, you got an upstairs and a downstairs, and you got all that space, and you got more than one bath. But we're not used
But it's
to,
little.
yeah, this size place. So we enjoy our space. So for us to be comfortable in that environment, that was a blessing. And not getting us a suite somewhere with a pool we can go to, that was a blessing for us
And then
and them. At one point, I thought,
talk about the bed.
well, I thought we were going to spend the one day, and I seen Tammy's face where she didn't want to really go out for a hotel, so I said, okay, I'm all right. But we have this bed upstairs now in our bedroom that nowhere we go we can find a bed that's comfortable. We spent quite a bit of money. Tammy had to pull some of my tape to get it because I was saying, why is this woman complaining? I'm a guy that slept in tents in the dirt and the snow and the ice and the rain,
And on the ship.
and on the ship the thin mattress on the piece of metal, and so I couldn't relate to the fact that we needed to change beds for pain to go away in my body, and it did. And so when we went down there, it was a high end type bed for that type, but we didn't have our sponge cushion on the top, so we were feeling it a little bit. It
but
was
but they wanted, that's what I wanted to talk about. They wanted to give us their bed,
oh yeah, yeah.
but we told them no, because one thing my grandmother told me, and I found it out after I did what she told me not to do. She said, you never give up your bed. So that
Exactly.
is a tip for all of you on here, that you never give up your bed. You know, you let people do whatever it is that they need to do, but you don't give up your bed. And I actually explained this to my daughter-in-law. I said, honey, never give up your bed. Because she said, I want, she said, I will give up our bed to let you guys, you know, sleep. I said, no, no, no. I said, you never do that. I said, don't ever do it. I said, let other people, I said, either have a couch or, you know, blow up mattress or whatever you need, but don't give up your bed. You know, and so that was one of the things that, you know, I got to share with her because, you don't know that until you know.
Yeah, I had the experience when I was in my early 20s of giving up my bed. And what happened, I was with my ex at the time, we were boyfriend, girlfriend. And her parents came and visited us. We had a 2 bedroom, uh, 1.5 bath place upstairs, downstairs. And her parents came with a few people. And so we gave up our bedroom to her mom and dad. Her dad was like super old fashioned. I think some of you can relate to these dads. So the only place we had left in the house, and we had a beautiful house. It was immaculate, clean, and all that. Being in the military, I feel day my house like I cleaned in the military, so everything was spotless. And so we put the bedding down in the kitchen. That's the last space in our house. The couches were taken, everything. So so that said, her dad came downstairs in the wee hours in the morning. He I'm from the Northeast. Back then, to me, he was a country guy. He was from South Carolina, and old fashioned. Like I said, he came in the wee hours of the morning, flicked the lights on me in the kitchen, on me and the ex, and I near about jumped up, uh, angry as I can be. You don't wake up a military person, especially on his off time. We get very very little off time. And instead of talking to him, I told my ex, I said, you know what? This is my house. You better talk to him. And she looked at me. She said, I'm not talking to him. I said, you need to talk to him. And she said, no, you talk to him. And I said, you know what? And I shut up because he back then, you didn't go at the old timers. You never know what to expect because old boy had a few. He was a war guy too, a World War II veterans, and he had some stories that where I wouldn't mess with him. I don't know if you knew back then. Soldier Story remind me of him because he he was a fine personality, but he had he looked like the
Like the
sergeant,
sergeant.
the sergeant that was all hard ass, but he had that look. But he did have some fight in him because he was little, just like that. And I remember a dude that was giving him a hard time, just happened to hit him, and he came up and I don't know if you know what they did in South Carolina. Them South Carolina boys did back then, but he got him pretty good, and then closed it up, put it back in his pocket, and the guy never bothered him again. But I wasn't gonna mess with the man. Just put it that way. Uh, um, but that said, that to me that's a good reason not to not to give away your bed. I mean,
That thing was so, I mean, he did it then. I did it. Same thing with my ex and his parents. They what's this jazz? They
squirrel.
right. So they came up and we gave them our bed because I didn't know any better because I was in my 20s too, young. Didn't know, hadn't talked to anybody about that. My grandmother hadn't told me that at first until afterwards. But they came up and they smoked in my bedroom. Woo! And I was so angry. Oh my God, I was really, 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 really hot. I just couldn't hardly believe it because I didn't smoke in my house and I didn't let anybody else smoke in it. And I could not believe the audacity of them to smoke in my damn bedroom. So I had I had a fumigated and stuff once they left. And I actually, did the same thing with my ex. I went off. I said, I can't believe that they smoked in my darn house. What is wrong with them? I was like, they could go with them. They could have went outside, and it was nice. It was a nice area and stuff, and we had a back porch that they could have gone outside and smoked. Matter of fact, when they were up in the daytime, that's what the hell they did. Because I was like, no, 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 I'm not smoking in here. So yeah, so I didn't. I learned then. Once after I talked to my grandmother, after that point, I learned. She told me, you never do that. So I never have done that since. And we actually considered it when our parents came out, right?
Yeah.
When they came out to visit, we considered it. But then I remember what my grandma said.
Right.
No.
And they were actually comfortable in the bed we gave them.
Well, it was real comfortable.
Yeah. And it's just something anyone that's listening to hear, or you happen to replay it, don't give up your bed. Don't give up your bedroom.
Don't give up your house.
Yeah, don't give up your house. It's tempting when you love people, when you care for them. However, it's not a good practice. You want to be the king and queen of your castle, all you kings and queens out there, and that's just fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really is. It's like, no, and you think about it, and it sounds like a good thing to do, right? But once you realize, no, because just like David said, this is our house. No, you're not. No, no, no. So anyway, there was something else you wanted to talk about.
Well, I want to give Kate a shout out again. If you haven't reached out to her, it's HYIMKAY. Here on TikTok, she's an inspiration. I learned from a lot of young people, particularly Kate. She's a good mentor. She's fairly new on here. Support her. Don't be too pushy. Because a lot of we talk about it. This is a little deep. We lose a lot of young people to overstress. They don't see it. They
leaving here in droves.
Yeah,
like
they
unaliving themselves.
When I say young, 20s and 30s, and even a little bit older than that, it's too young to us. And sometimes you as younger people, you don't know how to level out your stress. You don't know how to brush it off. You internalize a lot of things. Even when you're like me, Tammy had to tell me, because even though I'm retired Navy, I still work for local government, and sometimes it can be challenging. And me as a strong person, I told her, "Oh, that don't bother me." And her being a practitioner in that field for over 30 years, she said, "You internalize," and I realized that, and that's what a lot of younger people are doing. You get on these lives and what have you. Uh, you let people pull you from every direction. Nobody's in charge of you. Nobody's in charge of you on social media. Nobody. It's not. It is what it is. It is what you make it. What you want to realize is rest is important. You want to be at the you want to be at the level where you're functioning mentally. I mean, if you want to do a 24-hour live, do a 24-hour live, but cut it off and get you some rest in between. Um, and even while you're doing that 24, have your music in the background or whatever. Take your hour break. Have your moderators have them tap the screen and join, join and follow and subscribe. Have your good moderator left behind, and do it like we do it in the military. Do it in schedules, even. Don't burn out one moderator. Don't expect too much from one moderator. Um, just take it easy. The money is going to be there. Everybody in my generation that talked about the grind and didn't talk about rest in between, they're not here anymore.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people that talk grind, 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 grind,
Yep.
and that's all good.
It's good for a point. For a time period. Right. It's like, because people are because I actually did a video on that very same topic. I said
probably YouTube.
You have the hustle. It's on TikTok too. Okay. You have the hustle and flow, but you have to have a balance between that, because you do need some hustle, but you also need some flow. So really what it is the balancing of the divine masculine with the divine feminine, because the feminine is the flow and masculine is the hustle. But you need a balance. You don't want too much of one or too much of the other, because you can't just be in flow, because you got to do things, but you can't also stay in a hustle either, because you'll burn the fuck out. So you have to have a balance. It's got to be a balance between the hustle and the flow. So you have to get to a space where you know that this is the hustle that you're going to put in, but then there's also this time where you're stepping in the flow, if that makes sense. It makes sense, Ben?
Everything in moderation. People have asked me, even in the military, before I retired from the military, is how do I keep up physically? Because they consider you old at about 32 or so in the military, most of the young people. And at that age, in real life, you're at your prime. So doing our mile and a half or 2 mile runs, whatever it was back then, I would always come out of a pretty large unit. I would come out second or third. One time I was first. But at the same time, they would say stuff like, "We see you in the club last night. How could you do this?" But one thing I didn't do in the club, I wasn't a drinker. I did everything in moderation. I didn't hang out every night. I had many friends that had male and female friends that had several different relationships at a time. And if they would brag about it, I would say, well, it's hard for me to keep one person happy. So good luck to me with that, But moderation is the key in life. And you can go over that just on social media. Like I said, some of you who put a lot of time in, you grinding, don't be afraid to get your team. And you can't just take anybody in your team. You have to have somebody who have the same interests, somebody who really knows love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is forgiving. Love doesn't even remember wrong. I mean, you have to find people in your circle like that. Get your circle and get your rest. Get your peace. And don't be afraid to step away from people that are not meant for you. It doesn't mean that it's a bad person, but some people are just aren't meant to be in your eyes. They're not meant to be in your life.
Yeah, you got to have alignment.
Yeah, and you don't have to dislike these people. Whoever it is, you step away from. And sometimes everybody else around you won't see it. It's you that have to see it. But get you a circle and get you some rest and get you some peace in life and have a life away from social media, because there's a lot of great young people that's left too soon because they don't have that. You have to have a peaceful medium, right?
Mm-hmm. You really do. It's like, because what happens is you start getting so crazy and you start getting out of alignment, and next thing your chakras are all unbalanced. You all feeling crazy and stuff like that, and you don't even know why. All of these kind of things happen, and I was actually having this conversation earlier with a friend. I said, I get overwhelmed sometimes with too much social media, so I have to shut that shit down. I shut it off, turn the phone down, don't look at it, don't and I actually I feel better when I do that. I feel better when I do that. What you doing?
I was just reading who was on the screen.
Oh.
I see you. I just wasn't inviting in right now.
Okay, but yeah, so I mean, really, if you start to really get yourself in a space, get yourself in a place and in a space, and start really enjoying your life. If you need to hustle, but don't hustle forever, and don't think that that is what you have to do always. You hustle until you get to a place where you can flow. That's why you hustle and flow.
I see you. Thank you for your love.
So that's I'm about done. What about you?
Yeah, but what we put out is important. Self-care is important. Self-care. Oh, thank you for the hat. Self-care and self-love is so important. It's just something that we need to do. It's not a desire. It's something we need to do. Self-love is important. Um, get away from trying to apologize to everyone. It's good if we do wrong, if we know it's wrong. Yeah, but self love, self care. Stand corrected on whatever wrong that you do. You write it and you move on. Um, you can't make everybody happy. I'm just talking about life and social media now. You can't uh, make everybody happy. You can't please everyone. Um, you
Nope.
can't be on everybody's timeline. Remember, everybody here that requests things, you're not on their payroll either. Uh, uh, either they're on yours. So you do things out of love, growth, and sometimes you have a common desire. So my our desire is to always keep us a tight circle, a circle that we can grow with, a circle that if this person grows in a circle quicker than everyone else, everybody's fine with that, and just boost that person up. A circle where if I grow or she grow quicker than everyone else, we step up and we continue in our circle and we continue to support this person. So this is important in this life of social media that we chosen. Uh, Many of us make a really good living off it, and we just can't get lost in the mix. We can't get lost in the demands that is put on you because uh, nobody's nobody's making as much money as the one on top. You know, it's not even a top 2 or 3%. It's the one at the top, and nobody's going to reach that. So let's enjoy ourselves
Yep.
in this social media
And enjoy
generation.
some life.
Get out, get some sun.
Yeah, well,
Hey,
if you can.
hey, I heard somebody, no names, but I heard somebody just today said, yeah, uh, uh, somebody said something about natural light. I said, yeah, I don't even know what it looked like outside right now. And we could chuckle at that, but at the same time, look outside. Uh, I'm kind of the kettle calling the pot black because I haven't been outside today. And but I rested. I played on social media a little bit. As you know, United States, the United States Navy retired. I'm very giving. I'm one of the top gifters. And at the same time, if I can support you, if you're part of the team, if you're part of the direction I'm going, but keep in mind, even I don't belong to no one person. I got Tammy over here.
Yeah, you do.
But at the same time, I go and support a few teams. So just keep that in mind, and you want to keep the same. Keep a free flow. Keep your flow free. These are just side notes on how to have peace in life, because the words you do say moderation, and moderation have been a key to me working over 50 years, and Tammy working over 40 years. We've done things in moderation,
Yeah.
and so that said, like I said, we're gonna look in the feed to see who had questions, and if we can answer any of the questions.
I was gonna say, and just send us some questions if you want us to address anything in the chat, because we can't. This goes away once the live goes away. So we need. So anyway, but we would love to answer questions because we come on here really just to give of ourselves and to be a blessing, especially to for couples goals, because we know that we don't want to any more Will and Jada's because we come on here to share with couples and people so that they can understand unconditional love. Because unconditional love means that irregardless of what is going on, I'm going to always love him and he's going to always love me. And, we are at a place where we are forgiving regardless of whatever it is. Not to say that, either of us will do anything, because we both, we've been married before to other people that, yeah. So us appreciating and loving each other, that's a plus. That is a plus. And it's to me, it's just the most amazing thing, because I never ever thought that it would happen like that for me. I didn't think it. And so, being here with David and being able to share, parts of our journey, because we don't have a problem with that either. And even being able to help, people that have the grown kids and stuff like that. That's another thing that, I really do enjoy it. I actually talk to ladies on a regular basis about that kind of stuff. Because what happens many times is people don't love themselves enough to put up boundaries with their kids, other people, friends, family, especially. They don't put up boundaries. And you can say what you want about that, but really what that means is you don't love yourself enough to create boundaries around yourself. So that is a whole other issue. Whole other issue.
Okay, that said, again, thank you for the tapping. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the gifts.
Yes.
Thank you for subscribing.
Yes.
That's an important one, and sharing.
Yes.
Again, a shout out to Kate. That's you can follow her by �HYIMKAY. Great person, great mentor. I hope she gets to tell her story, and I hope you get something from it when she does. I hope she gets to write a story also. Uh, uh, Tammy, as you know, is a writer, author, publisher.
Thank you.
And she has you can see a few of her books on Amazon, and you can get your own signed copy uh, directly mail. Uh, she writes about many things. It's absolutely amazing. Let me see that. It's absolutely amazing. This particular one is one we really have pushed, because this one it's a really emotional book in all kind of ways. But at the same time, um, reach out if you need help writing your story. She's the one. She can be reached on many platforms. One of her main ones is YouTube. She has over 1,000 videos there, on podcasts and what have you. And you can reach us on the Book of Faces. That's Facebook, X, not too much, right?
No.
And Instagram and here
LinkedIn.
and LinkedIn and TikTok.
Mhm.
And Tammy will tell you about a little bit about her business side of the world before we get ready to wrap it up.
So I have a workshop going on that's happening on Saturday. I have one Saturday and then one the following Friday, but it is on helping people to recover from divorce and breakup. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be on Meetup. I will drop the link actually in the bio for that one, but it's on Meetup. So it's going to be on Zoom. We're going to come together. We're going to talk all about divorce and breakup, and I'm going to share my story, how I got through that, and some of the things that I suggest that you do in order to help you to heal and recover from that journey, so that you can attract your soulmate.
I want to hit that just to see what it does.
Right.
The guest thing. Oh,
Oh, we're just telling you people you can hit invite. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, super excited about that. But that's going to be on the meetup, and then I have one next Friday that is going to be on. It's on Eventbrite, and it is all about connecting to your intuition, talking about the spiritual gifts and all of these type of things in order to help you to move forward in your life, so that you can connect to these gifts so you can use them in your life. Because so many times people are so interested in their intuitive gifts, in their psychic gifts, in their clair gifts, whatever it is that you want to call it. Typically, we all have those gifts. We all possess every single one of the gifts. Now, sometimes you need to develop them more, because, sometimes you just need to develop them more. But you possess all of them. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about in that particular live, the spiritual gifts and how to connect to your intuition, because that is so key, because it will help you so much in your life if you begin to really connect. You begin to really connect to your spirit team, to God, to the universe, to source, to your angels, to your ancestors, all of those that are included in your team. So that's something that I talk about often. So definitely follow me. And if you are watching me on TikTok, go to my bio and click on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch some videos. So again, thank y'all for hanging out with us. We'll be back on again, possibly Sunday.
thank you for the happy birthdays to Tammy.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. My Cash App is Tammy Morrison. I'm still taking gifts. I'm taking gifts. I'm taking gifs. All the things. So again, I hope that y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all's evening, night, weekend, whatever it is, wherever you're watching, and continue to follow us. And if you have any questions, anything that you want us to talk about or anything like that, reach out to us and send us a message and let us know. We'll go into it, because There's always things to talk about, and we usually find them.
Especially about relationships. It's something we take for granted nowadays. And there's
Yes.
all kind of relationship besides what we look at as tradition. It's not just traditional anymore. We as a couple, we evolve with the world. Uh, um, we don't like to we don't like to be judgmental or set aside anyone. So we're all inclusive. We're like a lot of people think when Jesus walked the earth, he walked with perfect people, and they're they're kind of shocked to hear the side of all the prophets and the disciples who wasn't perfect with their imperfections, and we're not here to cast stones at no one. So we're all inclusive, and love is love, and
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So
And
I was gonna say, so you ready to land this plane?
and we love you all. We really thank you for coming. Um, and we could reverse the giving and the sharing and the follows, and also being a subscribing. And thank you for the hand heart.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was great.
Yes.
I think you're the first one to give us a hand. Make sure we all follow Emily Rose.
Okay.
Make sure you do that because
You already followed me.
yeah. And
Okay. All right.
thank you, Emily.
All right. So we appreciate all of you, and we thank you for joining us. And we will be back on again to talk some more. Appreciate the love, the follows, the hearts, the likes. We just thank you because we are always overjoyed when we come on here, and we have people that we can talk to.
And we're not leaving out none of the single people. We were successfully single before we decided to tie in. There were people grabbing at us, but we knew that wasn't the right one. Uh, um, at the same time, it's important to be successfully single before you really get in a relationship. And we're explaining that in one of our lives.
And also to know what you want.
Exactly, know what you want.
And I encourage people to write it down.
And it's fine to be single because you remember the lady we met in the crab boil restaurant? She was 80 something, and she said people actually, nothing that's wrong with it, think that I have something against the opposite sex because I I never been married, and I'm happy with that.
And no kids.
And no kids, and there's something to be said with that. It's all right to be single, and it's all right to be successfully single and happy at it.
It's all right not to have no kids if you don't want them.
And my brother's like that. Sometimes try to talk him into a relationship. He say stuff like, "Well, Dave, I save a lot of money. I go out once in a while. I spend a little bit of money, but then and but me and Tammy, I like to think that we're above average when it comes to that area. We both have contributed and built a good nest egg here. And that said, we're about to land this plane. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you for all the love, the gift, the subscribing, the followers. I'm going to, as soon as I see how many subscribers I have now, I'll give that a shout out next time. And we're looking forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, weekend, whatever it is for you. Thank you for showing up for us. And
showing up and showing out.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace is priceless. Amen.